Hello. So I decided to step outside of my house because it's always so loud in there. So I decided to record out in nature. So I'll be talking about my internship today and basically my time there and the different styles there were there, what I did on a daily basis and stuff like that. So the environment of the workplace in my internship. So before I go into it, I used to intern at the 5th Congressional District, Congressman Mike Quigley's office in Portage Park. And the environment there, it's very casual because no one really goes into it. So constituents do come inside of the office and ask for help, but most of the times the office is just the staffers working and the interns, so it's really casual. I would say it's very friendly. Like, my supervisor is comes out of her office to talk to me at my intern desk area. Other staffers do the same. It's very it's a comfortable place that every day I walked into and was I can definitely see myself doing this in the future, and I can definitely and I was definitely super comfortable just being there. So the environment was super friendly. My supervisor was always trying to make me feel comfortable in any possible way she could. And although it was casual and friendly, that doesn't mean that work wasn't done. Of course, work had to be done, and there were times where I barely got to say hi to my supervisor, and she had to get to work and I had to get to work. So yeah, it is casual, and I'm able to talk to them as I with whatever I have going on, but also work means work and I have to do that. The management style, so my supervisor, I think I kind of touched on this before, but my supervisor is very she's friendly and she will definitely talk to me, but that didn't happen in the beginning. In the beginning, it was very strict, and it was very these are the things you need to do in order to be successful here and work here. But as time went on, that's when she started opening up to me, and that's when we started having conversations. But in the very beginning, it was she would assign me something to do, and then she would go to her office and she'd let me do the work. But there were times when I had a bunch of questions, as a lot of people do when they start something new, and she would assist me with any questions I had. She would walk me through phone calls. I remember in the beginning I would be so nervous to take phone calls, and she would sit right next to me, and if I didn't know anything or if I needed help with whatever it was, she would assist me right away. So the management style, I would say it's very inclusive, and she'll ask me before, not with her work obviously, but she'll ask me what I'm more comfortable with, or she'll let me do my work while she does hers. So the skills that I've learned at my internship is definitely communication, and it's definitely learning, because I remember there were days I used to work before, so I had a job. I used to work at Dairy Star, still do, but I knew how to communicate with my boss, and when I couldn't come in or whatever, when I had something come up. But that's exactly what I also kind of put into effect when I had this internship. I remember there were many incidents that I couldn't go to internship, and it was just out of the blue. It was never the day before, so in the morning I'd make sure I would send an email to my supervisor, Jessica, or I would send a lengthy text and tell her, hey, I can't come for this or that reason. And then but I would make sure that I would get my work done, whether that was from home or the classroom if I was staying in the day. So yeah, the skills I've learned are communication. Also, I've learned professionalism, and I don't think I would learn that anywhere else but an office job like this. At my ice cream job that I do work at, it's not really professional unless I'm talking to customers and I'm just it's being nice to them. But when you're talking to constituents who need help, when you're talking to your own staffers, when you're when you're even just something as simple as like coming into work and just dressing up like professionally. You know, you can't come in with ripped jeans and a t-shirt that I would normally wear with my friends. So definitely professionalism, communication is something I've learned. And like simple skills like Google spreadsheets. I remember I wasn't really aware of like Google spreadsheets, or I wouldn't use them as much, and like I would have to do a bunch of like filtering out old Google spreadsheets she had with like district information, and I would filter that out, put some more information in. And so those are also things I've learned. So basically, obviously, the coronavirus has impacted all of us, you know, me, my teachers, my supervisor, my internship. So I had an interview with my supervisor, and I just asked her simple questions like how she was during this time, how her work was affected. And so, I mean, working for the government, working for the people, it's really hard to work for the people when you're not allowed to see the people and when you're not allowed to directly interact with them. So that was really hard. But for my supervisor, Jessica, and the entire office, they had to go virtual, so they weren't no one is in the office right now. So all the staffers are at home. They have all the work, they have everything in front of them. They're taking phone calls, they're assisting, you know, constituents over the phone, through email. But the hard part of going virtual is that a lot of people used to come in for services in person, and the fact that that is no longer the case is really difficult for the staffers. It's a hard time adjusting. And the biggest thing I learned was that, which I hadn't realized, we pay so much attention, as we should, to medical professionals or healthcare professionals just every day since the pandemic, because they directly work with people who are struggling to just like cope with all of this, people who are struggling physically, mentally, socioeconomically. But also the job of my supervisor and the congressman is that they also assist constituents who are feeling the same way. So a lot of constituents will call, again, they'll have angry phone calls, they'll have they voice their opinions, and it's really hard, especially when the staffer feels the same way, and to offer, you know, words of advice or words of comfort in times when we all feel the same way. So it's really hard to find that that emotion, you know. So that's one of the things I learned. But I mean, they're doing the best they can in assisting. They're doing the best they can in assisting constituents all over. So that's pretty great. But in terms of that's pretty much my internship. I'm super devastated not to go back or not to finish out the year, but of course things are the way they are. And so I hope you learned something about my internship.